When looking at the effects of COVID, often the looming death tolls and hospitalizations are the first to hit headlines. But what about those who survive to tell the tale and still have symptoms months after testing negative? Hello, my name is Jared, and today we will look at what long term COVID is, the people who get this terrible disease, why is it so scary, and resources needed to help if you or a loved one have had long term COVID. What is long COVID? Long COVID is defined as the CDC as post-COVID conditions are returning or ongoing health problems people can experience 4 or more weeks after first being infected with the virus that causes COVID-19. What we know of the more physical issues are as follows: difficulty or shortness of breath, cough, stomach, slit, chest pain, heart palpitations, diarrhea, and much more. Not all of these are physical. Some of the physical symptoms of long COVID can be, anything that doesn't seem out of the that seems out of the ordinary, but also some psychological issues come up that can be tired and fatigue, brain fog, dizziness, sleep issues going to bed or waking up, and or mood changes. While we will go over some of the unknown issues later as well, we truthfully don't know everything that long COVID can affect, and we must stay vigilant. According to a study done by Professor Tim Spector, 1 in 20 people are likely to get and suffer from long COVID. But you may ask, who's more likely? What group should be worried? Truthfully, everyone should be worried when it comes to COVID 19 and long term COVID. But in terms of percentages, long COVID affects around 10% of 18 to 49-year-olds who become unwell with COVID 19, rising to 22% of over 70s. Along with this, men have also been more likely to get hospitalized from COVID, but women seem to be the larger demographic that get long COVID symptoms. Weight is also a factor, as people developing long COVID have a slightly higher average or higher average BMI. What makes long COVID so scary? Well, with new variants and factors coming every and forming every day, we have to also fear the unknown when it comes to COVID and long-term COVID. Long haulers are people living with this post-COVID disease, and they call themselves are gaining in numbers. One thing is clear, and it is that this is affecting more people than we originally thought. According to Carly Kemper from Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, long haulers have real symptoms, and it is imperative that our focus be twofold: on the acute phase of the infection that may result in hospitalization and death, as well as also on those who have persistent or chronic long term symptoms or long COVID. At this time, we may not know the resources we need to help understand and fight these issues. While it may not be great, long COVID isn't a battle that you have to fight alone. There are multiple resources that can assist. One of those being Survivor Corps. Survivor Corps is a group of COVID survivors that take and have issues pertaining to long COVID, and according to their website, they claim that Survivor Corps is the largest grassroots movement in America dedicated to actively ending this pandemic. Their mission is clearly stated on their homepage for everyone to see, and it states that we strive to motivate and mobilize as many as possible to support all ongoing scientific, medical, and academic research in order to improve our understanding of this disease and help develop healthcare pathways and options for those suffering with acute and long term symptoms. We hope to help get people back into their homes, their families, and their communities, and even better, back to work, all while fostering the spirit of unity, compassion, and solidarity that is urgently needed during this time of crisis. They have multiple and hundreds of articles and blogs titling others' experiences and places that you can go to receive help and a direction when it comes to long COVID assistance. Joe Biden celebrated the 30th anniversary of the Disabilities Act by adding long COVID to a recognized disability. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, yes, long COVID can be a disability under the ADA Section 504 and Section 1557 if it is substantially limits one or more major life activities. That being said, it is proof that long haulers are being recognized for the issues that they have. There are more people talking about this than ever before. In conclusion, COVID is a terrible and monstrous disease that took us by storm. With what we know is happening clearly, we have some worries about the long term. Long COVID survivors are living in the long term now with present long term symptoms of the worst of disease of our generation. This can happen to anyone at any time. This disease is unpredictable and terrifying, as well as alarmingly unknown. Just know we will prevail and one day return to normalcy. Even if it takes a couple more years or two, we will move on together. Thank you. So, this is me in the hospital with my long COVID experience. So, basically, what happened was I got COVID in October of 2020, and I had very mild symptoms like loss in taste and smell, a little fatigue, some muscle ache. That's pretty much it. And I basically tested negative almost exactly 2 weeks after I got diagnosed with COVID. So I thought everything was in the clear, and that clearly was not the case. So uh, the month after, exactly a month after, I was in the hospital. I thought I just had maybe like the flu or something, got the flu right after I got COVID. My immune system's still pretty shot. So I went and made sure I was having a rapid heart rate. I'm overweight. So I was thinking, the worst and thought I was having a heart attack or something. I also had a fever of like 104 at that point. So with that, obviously, I was super nervous, but they sent me home the first time I went. They sent me home and said that I have COVID again, even though I tested negative while in the hospital at that point. So then afterwards, a week later, I went back. I still had a rapid heartbeat of about 180 beats per minute and had a fever of 105 for 5 days straight. And so, yeah, they admitted me and I was in the ICU for a bit. They told me that I had pneumonia and that I was severely dehydrated and I was going septic. I had a heart infection. And so basically, this is what it did to me. It obviously blew all the most of the veins in my eyes. I didn't take a whole lot of pictures, obviously, because I was pretty zonked out in the ICU. Yeah, I was there about 2 weeks. Um, nothing really crazy. I don't remember a whole lot, but I didn't realize how bad it was until I got home. When my mother told me that the doctor had called her one night and told her that they didn't know what to do anymore, and I had a fever of 105 for solid week and a half straight, and they were pretty much thinking that my brain was going to turn to mush and my heart was going to give out any second. So, yeah, I'm obviously here to tell the tale. So, I thank all the nurses and doctors over at St. John's Hospital. I work with them every day, so it's really nice having them behind me and on my back, making sure I'm cool. But yeah, this was my experience.